Hey everybody, Mike Steele here with Barbecue Champs Academy. I hope you've had a wonderful day today, and I do appreciate you spending the time with us tonight. It's going to be a great show. We have an amazing man with us, Mr. Jody Davis, SCA cooker, and I had a fabulous weekend this past weekend cooking steak and ancillaries. So we're going to be able to have a moment to talk with him here in just a few minutes. As you pop on, please let us know that you're here. I can already see some of my favorites are already popping up, and got a lot of favorites. But Gordon, we always can count on you. Rick, appreciate you being here. Congratulations, man. You had an absolute amazing year this year when I kind of was reading through your record. And congratulations, man. You had an awesome record. Justin, thank you for being here as well. Caitlin, how are you doing? I hope you and Brandon are both doing good. It seems like I recall Brandon had a pretty good weekend, I think, cooking some ancillaries. So congratulations to you guys. And I know everybody's getting really geared up for the new 2022 season. And nothing like being able to get out right off the get-go and start getting in the winner's circle. And especially if y'all are out there being able to pick up those golden tickets already for 2022 like Jody did this past weekend. Let's see who else we got. Mr. Blake, thank you for being here. I am looking forward to the show tonight myself. Stephen, thank you for showing up. Miss Candace, appreciate you being here tonight. Looking forward to the show as well. Paul, appreciate you being here. And Mr. John, thank you. Always count on you, man. We got a lot of just regulars that catch our show every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Central. We really do appreciate it. We got a pretty loyal fan base that's been following us now for a little over a year and a half. And it's an honor to me to have you come in and spend your Tuesday afternoon or evening with us here at Barbecue Champs Academy. Kent, we appreciate you being here as always. Mr. Jeff, let's see where you're from today. Yeah, Michigan, it's 10 degrees there. Keep that weather there. We don't like it that cold down here. I had an experience of some 0-degree temperature down here in February last year when that cold Arctic air came down in the south. And I remember waking up 0 on one of them mornings, and ice and snow and everything else on the ground. And I was like, no, this is not, I'm not built for this. I didn't mind it being the cold so much, but man, with all the snow and ice, and you know, if any kind of snow and ice hits our streets around here, people don't know how to drive, and this whole place shuts down. So it's never fun. Let's see who else we got. David, thank you for being here. Nathan, appreciate you coming. Joe, thank you for being here. Michael, let's see, appreciate you being here. Yep, he is a great mentor. A lot of people I've seen have a tremendous amount of respect for Jody, and it was an honor for us to reach out to him and him accepting the opportunity to come on Barbecue Champs. We got the champ in the house, Mr. Terry Roan. Thank you for being here tonight. Jeffrey, thank you for being here. Fire in the Hole Cookers is watching. Cool beans. Let's see, what golden tickets are you talking about? Well, if you get a first place in SCA state competition, you get a golden ticket, which gives you an automatic bid to go to the World Championship Cook-Off. And if you can be lucky enough, like this young lady right here, Miss Marissa Overson, her first year of cooking was last year, and about 8 months after her cooking, she immediately got her golden ticket, I think, within a few months of cooking. She went to the World Championship Cook-Off last year in Fort Worth, Texas, and became the first female ever, I think at the ripe old age of 21, I think was how old Marissa was when she won that. The youngest person to ever win it, and the first female to ever win it. And that girl right there will beat you in a New York second. Ask her brother. She beat him in the parking lot in our Clash of the Titans showdown. So, Paul, that's what it's all about. These state cookers travel all over the country. They do quite a few competitions. And if they get a first place win, they get a golden ticket. If somebody already has a first place, they can continue to pass it down to the person below them that does not have a golden ticket. So sometimes I've seen these things passed down to 6 or 7 spots. So it is a really unique deal. Last year they had 300 teams competing in Fort Worth at the World Championship Cook-Off, the SCA World Championship Cook-Off. And it is a lot of fun. We was over there last year doing some filming, and Lord willing, we're going to try to be back over there this year as well. Kevin, thank you for being here. I'm sorry, my nose, it feels like it's trying to run. been a lot of crazy weather. It goes to 78 degrees, 79 degrees the other day, and that night it got down to 33 degrees. Hey, that's just Louisiana for you. So it's just been back and forth weather. It's just crazy around here. Yeah, hard to cook when it's cold. I can imagine that. It sure does change the steaks quite a bit. There's a lot of stuff that you really got to look into, and watching carryover temperatures and stuff like that. So hello, Danny. We appreciate you being here. Nathan, let's see what I've got. I watched steak trimming videos today while home in quarantine. Well, there's nothing like going back and watching the videos, Nathan. You can always just catch little things that you may miss, and that's the great thing about our videos. Let's see. Wanted to get on here to give Jody a shout out. Hashtag the 423. Thank you, Randall. We appreciate you being here. Mike, thanks for showing up as well. Man, we got quite a few folks on here tonight, 41 people. We do appreciate it. Look, we're going to try to open this up to some question and answer. That's something that I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 months. I really do kind of like that format. Asking a lot of questions, allowing the people that's watching our show to go in, ask questions. And that's how we learn. And there may be some on here that may not know everything that we're talking about. And the way that you learn is asking questions. So anyway, I think we're going to have a great show tonight. Let's see who else we got here. Charcoal Grillers, thank you for being here. Paul, appreciate you being here, man. And we're going to have a good show tonight. Definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors real quick, our partners as I like to call them. I don't really ever look for sponsors, but we are looking for partners that want to be part of Barbecue Champs Academy, and the amazing amount of coverage that we get on the internet. We have average, if you're just wondering, the traffic to our website, last year we had an average of 1,257 people a day going to Barbecue Champs Academy. In the month of December, 49,000 people visited our website. We have over 800 keyword phrases that were on the first page of Google. And 800 keyword phrases that were in the first, second, or third spot on Google. This is all organic. And we'd like to try to really push people to our partners. And we've got some great ones here that has been with us for a very, very long time. My good friend, Mr. Danny Ham at Be Extreme Barbecue, we thank you for all your support over the years. B&B Charcoal, Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop, Mr. Brian Crawford. If you've never used any of his products, he's got some awesome rubs, the Crawford barbecue products. So be sure to check them out. He's got a great retail store loaded with any kind of rub and sauce and grilling gadget that you could possibly imagine. Also Texas Select Seasoning, one of our newest ones that he came aboard a couple months ago, Mr. Wild Bill. He's got some great rubs, especially if you're into venison and cooking wild game. He's got some great rubs for that. Check them out, Texas Select Seasoning. Obviously David at Gunnar Wilhelm Knives, some of the best knives on the market. We do appreciate him and all his support over the years, and trying to always come up with discount codes for the Barbecue Champ Academy customers. Also, my good friend Dustin at the barbecue store. He is so good to carry almost every single product that we have in our classes, and we try to have one-stop shops for everybody, and we do appreciate him being with us as well. Also, Raider Red Meats. This is the meat market that's there on the Texas Tech campus. They kind of use this as an agriculture for training these people going through the school to cutting beef and stuff like that. And any of the profit that's made from the store goes to the students that need scholarship money to go to Texas Tech. So it's a really cool deal in helping somebody that could need some help getting through college. Last but not least, we got to thank Daigle's barbecue sauce. They've got some incredible product. They've got unbelievable glazes that we use in competition all the time. They got several different sauces. One of my absolute favorite is the Daigle's Pecan Garlic. If you haven't ever used them, you might want to check them out. There's a link on our website at the bottom of every page, but down at the bottom it's got Daigle's barbecue sauces and glazes, so be sure to check them out. Well, I've got quite a few more folks that's done popped on here, so let's kind of run through these real quick. Rockin' Egg Grilling Supply, hey, Appreciate you being here. Can always count on you guys. Rusty, thank you for being here. Merv, you're always on here every week in and week out. Stephanie, yes, love the Crawford product. It is really, really good stuff. If you've never had his seasonal, I highly suggest you try it. It won Best Rub on the Planet at the Kansas City or at the American Royal last year. So check it out. Big Rome is with House tonight. Appreciate you being here. Monty, thank you for being here as well. And Larry Vaughn, thank you for showing up. Appreciate it. And I hope everybody's doing well. Well, without further ado, you're not here for me. We're here for the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend that everybody wants to be like. Mr. Jody, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Mike. How are you doing?
Man, I am doing fantastic. Congratulations on some very, very big wins that you had this past weekend at Bahia, Mississippi. And I know they had a couple state competitions that was rolling around and also some ancillaries.
Yes,
and man, you and your wife just absolutely mopped up. If I recall, you had a first place in State B, first place in ancillary. We're going to talk a little bit about that wild exotic dish that you cooked up for the ancillary. But congratulations. I just saw the points for the ancillary came out. I guess this is after the first 2 weeks, and your wife is number 1 and you're number 2 in the ancillary. So congratulations with that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So just to let you know, once again, he's with Amen Q, and we'll get into a little bit more about that here in just a second. But I want to know a little bit about you, Jody. How did you get started in cooking in general? Did you have a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle when you was young and growing up in your younger years that kind of got you in the kitchen, or out dad or mom or aunt or uncle get out on the grill and kind of show you the ropes behind it? How did you get started, or when did all that happen?
Oh man, I guess whenever I was young, everybody that knows me knows I had a grandfather that I loved dearly, and the man never could read nor write, but he and my grandmother were married 65 years.
Ooh,
He
that's
passed
great.
away the week after their 65th anniversary, and every day for 65 years he made her breakfast.
Wow.
And just being around him, of course, my mother, and I'm a Baptist, so we like to eat. But
Yeah.
my grandfather was very influential, in
Right.
that, being around him, watching him cook, and just being a good man. That's something I always wanted to do, just be half the guy he was. So,
Right. Right. So he kind of
and
got you. He kind of got you started into the cooking part at a young age.
yes, and then Lori's uncle and I, we after Lori and I was married, gosh, I pastor a little church, and we do these dinners and stuff, and we've always barbecued and stuff for family and friends, and we got to where we were doing dinners, and man, it grew. People started coming from everywhere, and then we got to doing some catering, and it just snowballed from that. And luckily, I was able to make a lot of friends and stuff through that. And my first state competition was in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Oh, there you go.
I had no idea what I was doing, but we loaded up and went up, and I think I finished about middle of the pack. And from there, I was bit and ready to go. A few weeks later, I went to Wise, Virginia. Greg Cross was running the event, and that's why this past weekend was so special. Danny Kennedy was training Greg at that one, and so I'm very, very thankful for Danny, and I won that event. That was my first event that I won, and I was just I was blessed, and man, from there I was ready to cook anywhere and everywhere. And
I be.
we haven't stopped yet. With me being a pastor, I try to stay within a 5 to 6 hour radius, and there's times after. So any of the state cooks on, if you don't see me after awards very, and I try to I try to head out as quickly as I can so I can
Right.
get back to the church.
Yep. That's good. That's good. So, when did you start cooking your first SCA competition? When was this?
I guess that would have been 2019.
Okay.
I don't know, we cooked two, maybe three, I guess. And then 2020, we cooked maybe 10, 12 locally.
Hmm.
Um, and then this past year, I think Lori and we cooked 32, 33 events this past year.
Wow,
So,
that's quite a few. Where do you live at?
Sorgornsville, Tennessee. Um,
Okay.
we're
Where's
kind of
that? Where's
located.
what big?
We're located between Bristol and Knoxville in East Tennessee.
Bristol and Knoxville. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been up in that area. I used to do a lot of drag racing.
Oh
Been up
yeah.
to Bristol. Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a huge career in drag racing for years. Set a couple of world records. Developed a nitrous nozzle and sold it to Edelbrock. Got a patent on it. And we been to Bristol, Tennessee twice up there, and went to Johnson City, Tennessee. We stayed over at a little hotel that was, I think, it's about 15, 20 miles from Bristol, if I recall. And I tell you what, I've traveled a lot of cities racing. I mean, from Tampa to Bristol to, or not, Bradenton, Florida, Tampa, Orlando, West Palm Beach, Atlanta, Georgia, Richmond, Virginia, Bristol, St. Louis, Norwalk, Ohio, Columbus, down all through Texas and Ennis and Baytown. Pretty good travels. Bowling Green, Kentucky. That was the circuit that we kind of ran, and I tell you, what, all the places that I went to, Johnson City, Tennessee, was probably just God's country to me. I mean, I've always said if I ever had to leave Shreveport, Louisiana, and I had to leave, where would I go? It would be Johnson City, Tennessee.
East
Um,
Tennessee is beautiful,
it
beautiful
was
area.
just, it was absolutely gorgeous. I remember it was in July, and the one thing that struck me more than anything is I would wake up that morning and it was like 60 degrees, and at noontime it would be like 80 degrees, and at 3 o'clock it would be 92 degrees, and then 6 o'clock it was already back down to like 78 degrees, and I was like, man, this is so much better than Louisiana. I mean, and that was in July. I mean, I was just like, this is unbelievable. So, yeah, it was
Beautiful area. Beautiful
beautiful
area. We're
area out
blessed to
there.
live here.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt. So, well, another thing that we I know that you are very big behind. I know you got stake church is something that you are doing.
Yes.
You was kind of telling me a little bit about that at the SCA events,
Hmm.
and let you tell me a little bit about that. And obviously, we know that you're a pastor,
Hmm.
and preaching God's word is always a good thing. And I guess you had the opportunity to kind of start bringing some messages at the competitions. That's always a good thing for fellowship and hearing God's
Yes.
word.
Yes. So Stake Church got started last year. And of course, there's always been prayer and stuff, all the events. But last year during COVID, some of the folks down in Knoxville at the Shriners Temple, they asked me to say a few words before the event, and it just so happens that Brett was there that day, and I I got up, and being a pastor, I didn't know anything other than God's word, so
That's it.
I read and said a few words, and I don't know. You could tell people were uplifted, not by anything that I've done, not by anything. I want everybody to know that it's nothing that I do,
Hmm.
but it it really it really seemed to help. And afterwards, Brett come to me and asked me if I would do that at Fort Worth last year, and I told him, I'd be honored to. So
Right.
from there, it just grew, and man, there is folks all over the country now that's part of stake church, I guess you would say, that hold it or try to do it, at every event. It's amazing to see all of the good, all of these good folks: Marcio, Ashley Henson, Fred Hain, Bill
Hmm.
Mann, Ronald Burns, Clint Burns. There is so many good men and folks that has just stepped up and want to be, want that out there.
Hmm.
I'm thankful for that opportunity.
Right,
Not
right,
only to compete and do what I love there, but my calling to be able to do that with that
right.
is a blessing.
Yep. No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's always a blessing to be able to do that. So, um, nothing like it. There's no question. I
And
served as an elder for 10 years at a congregation here in town and had plenty of opportunities to preach God's word. And, it's just a good feeling. And,
yeah,
telling people about God and hearing the story, it's a great thing. And,
yeah.
we all need
So,
His love and we all need His grace and mercy.
you know, and I want to say a big thank you to Brett and Ken and Shelly. They've gave us this platform and they've got behind us, to be able to do this. And this year, on the itinerary for the Worlds, there's going to be it should be on there. I believe Brett and Ken said they were working at trying to make a spot for it there so that everybody that comes, they'll know when and where to be at for State Church in Fort Worth
Yep.
this year, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, that's great. That is absolutely great. Anybody got any questions for Jody while we're at it? We're fixing to start kind of getting into some Q&As. Certainly let us know, and we will get some questions out there for you. I know there was one person on here, Mr. James Dotson. I think I read, James, that you were quarantined. I hope y'all are all right, you and Erica. I know y'all were planning on coming to Blanchard this weekend for the competition. And I hope you're doing well, brother. So y'all get well for y'all get out in this mess. So are you cooking this weekend?
No, sir. I have a wedding that I have to officiate. We were qualified for the Alabama State Championship, and but as I said before, my first duty is to the church, and I've got to
Yeah,
officiate a wedding there at the church of a young couple. So I'm looking forward to that.
that's awesome.
I think our next competition that I know for sure will be in Carrollton, Georgia, at for the Georgia State Championship.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's see. Good luck cooking steaks in a parking lot this year, everyone. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what we do. Cook them in a parking lot. Let's see. How to cook barbecue. Love me some steak church. Let's see. Joe saying, Jody, will you be in Georgia at the Georgia State Championship? You plan on
Yes,
being there?
yes,
Okay,
sir.
cool.
That'll be our next cook, I believe.
Okay,
Um,
good deal.
so I'll
Good
be there.
deal. Yeah,
I'll be
that
there, and
sounds
Lori will
good.
be there.
Okay, good. Well, let's kind of talk. We're about a little over almost halfway through this. So, if anybody's got questions, I see one question that's come up. What's your steak recipe? Somebody's chuckling at that. Yeah, get a steak. Used to be Extreme. That's his sponsor, and kind of roll from there. So, what temp are you running your grill grates for those perfect grill marks? So that's somebody that's asking a question. Do you want to share that
Sure.
information?
Yeah, sure. I run my grill around 575.
575. All
Yeah,
right,
somewhere
and
thereabout.
yeah, fluctuates in that area, but anywhere 575, 600 seems to be a pretty popular
Yeah.
number for a lot of cooks that I've seen. So,
And
um,
with the classes, I've learned to, because as I said before, the classes help. Um, After I took those classes, I learned a lot more of how to set up a grill, um, and be able to have different areas for different temperatures. And I know a lot of people will say, you know, they'll try to get that temperature at one spot, and if it doesn't, there's some weeks when it's really cold. It's hard to get that temperature at one place, but if you can learn to set your grill up to where you have different areas,
mhm.
man, it sure makes it a whole lot easier, and you'll
Yeah,
keep a whole lot more hair on your head,
yeah,
so to speak,
yeah, that's for sure.
knowing there's different areas that you can fall back on.
Yeah. So, whose class have you taken on Barbecue Champ Academy?
Well, of course, I've took Terry's, John's, and Matt's.
Terry, Johns, and Matt's.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so you've taken three of our classes. Yep.
Yes. And I would like to take more, but getting Lori to turn loose of some of her ancillary money is something that.
Well, now that she doesn't have to cook 4, 5, 6, and 7 ancilleries, which cost
There you go.
It takes a boatload of money to be able to do it. Maybe now you can scale back some of that money and take a few more of these classes to help
I would love
you get
to.
a little bit better.
I
So
would love to.
that's
Um,
great. That is awesome.
if you're not, if
Nathan's,
you're
do
not
you do a,
learning,
yeah, Nathan's got a question. Do you use a marinade? And if so, which one do you like using?
I use Wicked Pig. You know, part of Team B Extreme. We're sponsored by Wicked Pig, so
Okay. So
I'm
you like
a
Wicked Pig?
faithful user in it.
Yeah, Wicked Pig is some good stuff. Let's see. We've got another question, Justin. Did they provide you with the steaks competition? Yeah, all the steaks are provided, Justin, at the barbecue competition. You get to pick out two. You draw a chip, and then everybody gets an order that whatever number chip that you have. And so if you have draw number one, you get to pick first, but then the second go around, you get to pick last. So they reverse the order, so kind of give everybody a fair shake of getting some decent steaks to choose from. So, but yeah, that's the great thing about it. Everybody's cooking the same piece of meat.
Sure.
And let's see, I could so do yeah, steak competitions are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into them. I've only cooked. I cooked Blanchard here last year. That's coming up this weekend. It's right here in my backyard. I haven't even thought about cooking that steak competition this weekend.
I
I don't
think
have
you
a.
should load up and go, Mike.
I probably should. You know, everybody's like, "Well, you got all these steak classes." I was like, "I don't have time." I went to that kind of competition last year. I put my brisket rub on my steak. You would think. I mean, I've got cajillions of rubs around here, and what do? I think I threw some steak dust on it, something else, and then obviously I've topped it off with a couple of my brisket rubs. I don't know. I mean, I use what I use to cook, and if I really did get serious into steak, I do have some serious steak competition guys. I've got the whole library of them. I never use the classes. That's what people don't realize. I mean, even with all the barbecue stuff and this and that, I've always run my own stuff. I never did do Barbecue Champs Academy where I could gain all this vast knowledge of using everybody's recipes and stuff like that. And if I did steaks, yeah, I never have cooked them. Obviously, I do have a massive library of steaks to choose from, and I could probably do something like that. But I just, you know, when you're running barbecue, it's really difficult to get in to trying to do steaks as well.
Sure.
And I think we did 19 barbecue competitions or 20 last year. And it's just kind of a little hard for me to get into the groove of, I mean, steaks is something you've got to get in. You've got to practice. And it's not just practice. I talked about this last week. It's got to be perfect practice. I can't stress that enough to people. You've got to have perfect practice. You've got to do everything exactly the same. Everything, down to every single aspect of it. Treat it just like this is your turn-in steak.
Yes.
That is how you're going to get good. And it just takes a lot of work. And, you know, I mean, I see some of these guys cooking 3 or 4 steaks a week. And especially leading up to the World Championship. So talking about that, how many steaks will you practice between now and then? Are you going to practice 1 or 2 a week till the World Champion, or how do you go about doing that?
A lot of it depends on my work schedule, but I usually get 2 to 3 in a week at least.
Okay.
And I have a garage, and I've got the side of the garage. I've got it set up just like I would at an event. And I've got tables there just like I would at an event, and I trim, do everything just like I would at an event. My timeline, we treat it the same whether we're here or at an event. That is, if I could give anyone a tip, create a timeline and practice that timeline at home. Practice, then when you go to a competition, it makes it so much easier to be able to look down and see. I'm bad. My wife will tell you, you know, that I'm bad to forget stuff. But with that timeline, even down to lighting my charcoal or dumping my charcoal, or when to wicked pig, or when to take it out of the wicked pig, all of that stuff is on my timeline. And if it's a double, you know, you're doing that at 2 or 3 different intervals. And rather than trying to think of it, if you have that done before you go, it takes a lot of stress and pressure off of you, and it makes it a whole lot easier on you. So,
right. What kind of cooker do you? What cooker do you? You're a PK guy?
I'm a PK person. I'm very much a PK person.
Use original or a 360?
I use an original. I've got a Go, and I love my little Go, but I don't know. Kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about different heat zones and stuff. On all of these companies make great grills. I
Hmm.
have nothing bad to say. I own some of the other grills, um, but
But your go-to is an
knowing,
original.
yeah, and it's because I'm comfortable with it. I know what it's going to do, whether it's 10 degrees or 100 degrees outside
Right.
grill.
Wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Uh, that's let's see, Jody. Have you? When are you going to come back up to Northeast for a state competition?
Oh, Lori and I love going up. Fred, we love going up to Pennsylvania and cooking. We was talking about East Tennessee being beautiful. Man, going up in that area up there around Lancaster and stuff, that is such a beautiful area. Lori and I love going up there and cooking. We may try to go back up again this year. There's one event that they have up there. It's Kenny's. Oh my gosh, it's a Kenny's Market. They're the ones who sponsor it, I guess you would say. And we love
Hmm.
going up there and cooking that event. So we may try to do that one again this year.
There you go. That's good. How long does it take to cook a steak in competition? Not long.
Ooh.
So, what's your time? Five to 6 minutes usually to cook a steak.
Mm, I'm
Somewhere in
probably
that area.
I'm probably about a 15 to 20 minute cook.
Okay. All right.
So
So you're cooking it a little bit slower. Okay.
I do, and the reason being, I have a certain time that I start my turn in steak,
Right.
and I do a certain amount of time on each twist, and then my flip, and then I use my probes and stuff to make sure my temperature's right, and then I let it come up, and then you take it off, you watch it, you let it rest, you do all this stuff, and then you do your finishing and all this other. So it's 15 to 20 minutes. As far as
Okay.
on the grill, it's maybe 6 minutes total,
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
cooking.
It's
But now
cooking it. Yeah.
it may take it 5 extra minutes to come up to 10. So
Right. Right. Do you have to use a riser on your PK Go?
I do, I do.
Okay. So you still
I
have
have
to
it
get it
with me.
up off of it.
So
Yeah.
with on the PK Go, I took one of the little half racks,
Hmm.
that everybody uses in state competition. Bought because there isn't really a riser rack for the PK Go, so
Right.
I went to Home Depot, bought some stainless steel bolts and
Hmm.
nuts, and
Made
made
your own.
myself a little riser rack on for my PK Go. I used a little more rack with the PK original. So
Right. Right. Oh
smoking the crow,
goodness.
that was it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Come time. Cook time will vary depending on if you're running hot and
Yeah,
fast cook or low and slow cook. Yeah, a lot
yes,
of it
very much
is.
so. Candace is right on that.
Yeah, a lot depends on how fast you're. There's a lot of different variables, but generally you can get a steak cooked usually in anywhere between 6 minutes and 15 minutes, depending on if you're doing a hot and fast or a little bit
Yeah.
lower and slower. So let's see. What do you like your steak? You got a certain average temp that you like your steak? You ain't got to give us
Um,
nothing exact, but a ballpark
I'm
temperature
80,
that you
80,
80 degrees. Yeah,
85, somewhere in there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So yeah, did he warm them about 80? He
yeah,
likes them about 80 degrees, but anywhere between 80 and 85 degrees, somewhere in that area. So
yes, most
um,
definitely. I seen Jamie and them ask that question. Charcoal grillers.
mhm,
Yeah, in cold weather, most definitely I do. I've got a little apparatus that I made that warms my steaks up in the
warm your
cold
steaks up.
weather, and
Right.
to try to save you and everyone else a bunch of time, I'll just say it's an apparatus that I come up with
There you
to
go.
warm steak.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Well,
Um,
now I know we were talking about earlier. We got state competition or the World Championship coming up here. You know, basically 2 months from now, and it's going to be in the middle of March. Was last year the first year that you cooked
it
at
was. Yes.
at the World? Okay, so last year
Yes.
was your first year that you qualified.
Yes, sir.
And how did you do? How did you end up doing? And
I believe in my group, I was 16th, which I missed the cut. Um, I, and this is something that I have worked on all year. I got a 47 in appearance and at Worlds. I got a 50 in doneness, 50 in texture. I had like a 52 in taste and a 50 in
Wow.
my overall.
Over.
And, and so, I mean, great score. And
Just the
that score
dang.
would win a lot of competitions.
Oh yeah, just the dang
And
done or the
the appearance. And
appearance. Yeah.
yes. And so from that day forward,
Wow.
I know someone asked about the marks and stuff. I made it my personal mission to make sure, my steaks had good marks
Beautiful.
and that kind of stuff.
Bright color and stuff like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, most definitely.
So,
Um,
what was the biggest thing that you took away? What the excitement? What was the biggest thing that you just loved about going to the World Food?
oh man, meeting all the people that you see like on your show, or you friend them on Facebook or all these places, and you know them through that, but to see them in person and
In person. Yeah.
um, you know they're great people. Everybody's always welcoming. I think that's one of the greatest things about SCA is how friendly everyone is. And like you said earlier, just ask a question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, people will stop and help you as best they can.
Right.
Um,
They're not going
they,
to give you everything, but they may give you a few pointers here and there to
oh
steer you at least in
yeah,
the right direction.
yeah,
That's the main thing.
yeah.
So,
And going back to not giving you everything, I think I think if you're trying to get everything from someone else, then you're not doing what you should be doing yourself.
that's right.
Develop your process, your recipe, whatever it may be, and I'm very much a Be Extreme fan. I'm part of Team Be Extreme. There's great rubs from other folks out there, and I think one of the biggest problems people have in a state competition is they may not do good. Last week in Florida, I was 19th and 20th. Uh, this past week, I was fortunate enough to win one.
Right.
But my process still hasn't changed. And I think
Yeah.
that's what a lot of folks do is they see something new and they want to switch, and then pretty soon their process is out the window. Trust your
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Trust your recipe. Trust your timeline,
Stick
and go
with it.
cook a steak.
Stick with it. Do you
Sure.
like to cook spinalis or do you like to cook tri heart? What's your preferred choice?
I like to cook the prettiest steak on the table,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
That.
If I had my choice, I would pick a tri heart. I know Terry Rowan's probably going to get aggravated at me for saying that, but I love a tri heart. I know a lot of people like spinalis, and I'm different than a lot of people. I like cooking the big tri heart,
Right.
one of the first cuts, but that's just me.
Right. Right.
And that goes
Yeah.
back to the same process,
Yeah. Well,
knowing which one
if
you
that's
want. Yes.
if that's what you cook a lot, then that's
Yeah.
what you're comfortable cooking. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
And if you
So.
practice those at home and you go to a competition and you pick something else and it does something totally different, that's kind of on the person picking the steak. So,
Right. A hundred
um,
percent.
uh,
100%. Let's see. The end of the 21 season was awesome. Let's see. The end of the 2021 season was awesome because we had the chance to meet so many cooks from across the country for the very first time. That was from Steve Doble. All right. So you've got a chance to go to World. I'm like you. I had never been to that before, but at that time, I wasn't into state competitions. I didn't really get serious about it until we started filming everybody in Barbecue Champs Academy. We've had a cajillion people taking our classes. I couldn't even possibly tell you how many people have taken multiple classes like yourself. You've taken 3. I've had
mhm.
some that have bought every single one that we've had. And it was really cool to go over. I saw names,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously I'm seeing people all the time. They're on our show. I'm seeing the orders come in.
Sure.
But then to actually go over there and bring our film crew, the rolling out the red carpet for us was just phenomenal. That people were coming up to us and I didn't know who they were by face, but I recognized a lot of the
Sure.
names. And when they would tell me their name, I knew them. And it
Yeah.
was really awesome. I mean, it just, they made us feel incredibly welcome. It was so awesome to be there. And I think, like you said, it was just great to be around so many wonderful people.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that was probably one of the biggest things that
I
I
think
took
that
away from it.
day, the day that we arrived, we set up our stuff and um, we set up all of our stuff. And the first thing that we saw was, we came over where Matt, Marissa, and you were
Something went
doing
wrong. Please try again.
where you guys were doing.
The Clash of the Titan with
Yes.
Matt and
And I
Matt.
was awestruck. Someone asked, I saw it pop up there, one piece of advice for first attendee at the Worlds.
Yeah,
Um,
we're
just
gonna get to
enjoy
that
it.
question. That we're
Yeah.
gonna get to that question.
Yeah.
So
Just enjoy it.
yeah,
But I was awestruck whenever I walked up and, I saw Matt Overson, and I was like, wow, and then of course, Terry, I know Terry, but, you see all of these people and it's like, wow, these are great cooks. But then you talk to them and, they're nice folks and they're welcoming and,
hmm
they'll do their best to help. And
yeah.
I'm very
There's
thankful
no
for that.
doubt. Yeah. Well, that comes around to the question: what's your one piece of advice for first attendees going to World? Obviously, you said go have a lot of fun, but I
Enjoy
want to
yourself.
get into what did you get there? What would you have brought different? Would you have brought more stuff? Would you have given? We talked about this last year. We had
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
on here, and I was like, he said, get a cart, for hauling stuff. Do this. Make sure that you've got everything. I mean, he said, that was some of the things, some of the tips that Matt had brought out, last year. So, what advice would you have for somebody, attending the World? I would
For
give
the first
one.
time,
Yeah, go ahead.
um, for the first time, and this is going to sound very odd, but as you know, the teams are spread out. I mean,
hmm
it's a really
It's
big
big.
area. Um, if I could give anybody a tip, take your phone or take a stopwatch, and from your cook side, time it
Yeah,
from there to the turning,
yeah,
um, and put that into your timeline. Um,
absolutely.
because time can get away from you very quick.
Yeah,
Other than that, I mean, really enjoy yourself. Go up and talk to people, ask questions. Gosh,
yeah,
come see me. If you can't tell, I love to talk.
yeah.
I'll talk to anyone.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There is no doubt. I think the biggest thing is being prepared.
yes,
Mentally being prepared. I mean, this is a world championship. This is a big deal. I would like you. I mean, I would be practicing perfect practice every time I can, 2 3 times a week. Have
yes,
my game plan down. Have everything where it's just like, I watched Terry Rome when we did Clash of the Titans, and I gave him the nickname Iceman.
yes.
I mean, that guy was sitting here watching him, and everything was just like nothing rattled him. Nothing. I
Mm-mm.
could have blindfolded Terry,
And he
and
knew
he
where
could have
everything on
went
his
through
table.
every single aspect. He could be blindfolded, and he would have cooked that steak absolutely perfect. He is so smooth.
Yes.
I gave him the name from Top Gun,
Yeah.
Iceman, because he's silky smooth. He doesn't make mistakes. He will wear you down, and you're done.
Yes.
And that is Terry, And I think if you have that mentality or that mindset of going into this, practicing, doing everything right, having all your ducks in a row, go there for a competition. I don't drink. I see so many people that go in, they get wasted, they're not focused. Look,
Right.
if you want to go in to win a world championship, be clear minded.
Right.
There's time you can do that afterwards
Sure.
if you so choose to do. And I think that's some of the best advice that I could give. And obviously, you've given some pointers, timing it, how far it is. We do that sometimes at barbecue competitions. I'm like, man, I got a long ways to walk. I
Yeah.
may have, 300 yards, 200 yards, 100 yards to walk, but I need to know how long it's going to take me to get
You know,
there, and it's just
luckily
sometimes.
at luckily at for when you're there, they do have some golf carts and stuff. And if
Mm-hmm.
if you hit it just right, you can hop on one of the golf carts and ride it up for tourneying too.
Right. Right.
Um, you know, Lori and I flew down last year, and charcoal grillers. They
Right.
were so gracious to haul our stuff for us down there, and stuff like that is you can never repay someone for that,
Right. Right.
Danny.
Yeah.
um, but uh, Lori and I, we did checklist after checklist after checklist to make sure, we had everything in our boxes and all of our grills and stuff. I'm very fortunate that I'm part of the team that,
Right.
that if I did forget something, luckily, that I had teammates to
Yeah.
help.
There's plenty of people there that'll be willing to help.
Yes,
There's
and it
no
doesn't
doubt.
matter if you're part of the team or not. If you forget something, I'm sure there would be, more than a lot of people that would be willing to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see, Nathan. I might have to look at the classes for appetizers. Yeah, we got some pretty good classes. Those appetizers that Max did, we actually did. For those of you who haven't been to the website in a while, last year at the very end of the year, we did release our ancillary class that a lot of people were waiting on. We did
Hmm.
burgers, desserts, appetizers, and burgers. So we felt like those were probably four of the main ones. And some amazing food. Max Nelson, Montana Max Barbecue, came in. He was a Culinary Fight Club champion. Had three first place categories, and then also as a Culinary Fight Club champion, which is some crazy stuff. They got 1 minute to shop and 30 minutes to cook a meal, and it's just I don't even know how they do it. I mean, he was telling me, and they're right there in your face, and I think there's, and you're not
Mm.
competing against three people. It's kind of like Chopped on steroids, but I think you're competing against 8 or 10 people. And his food is just absolutely amazing. The biggest thing that I think people would learn from him is he is all about flavor profile. He's a culinary chef, right? I mean
Hmm.
it's what he does. His mind does things that I couldn't even comprehend on some of the things he was coming out. But he will bring his techniques of flavor profiles and putting stuff together. There's just a tremendous amount to learn and absorb from him with that. But the biggest thing is his presentation. I mean, he won World Food with the presentation, and I mean it's just stunning some of the things that he comes up with and how he does it. So you can take those flavor profiles that he does, build upon them.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're looking into getting into the ancillaries this year, Max has got some incredible classes. You can get all 57 videos, I think. I forgot how many hours it is. A lot of hours. It's like $3.99. I mean, we did
Wow.
these things incredibly cheap. You can get, so that's three different burgers, three different desserts, three different appetizers, three different what am I missing? Dessert, burgers, appetizers, and something else.
And
Chicken
right,
wings. That was the other one.
and
And
they've readjusted the ancillaries for this year. You're only
yeah,
allowed to cook
it's
one.
just it's the one. It's
Yeah.
going to make things so now is more. To me, it would seem like this would be where you would want to have all the knowledge that you can. Yeah, you could turn in 4 or 5, and anybody can get lucky enough to get a call and start
Right.
winning some of these things. Cook one.
Yes.
Go in and cook one, and then let's see how good you are.
Yes.
And then that's when the person that's taking these classes, I think Max is going to be able to help a lot of people
Yes.
this year. If they go in and take it, you're going to learn techniques, you're going to learn flavor profiles that stand out and are just amazing.
Yeah.
And, you
And
might
they're
want to take a
also
look at them.
doing. They're in the ancillary. They started doing awarding points just like in the state. Uh,
Yeah,
first first through 10th, 11 through 2 points, um, just like in a state competition. So they'll start calling out 1 through 10 in the ancillaries now. So
right,
I think
right,
that's great. They started doing that in Bahalia this past weekend.
right.
Um, and I know Candace and some of them are on there. They got to see me sweat through 9 different things until they called out the one. And
Right.
as I said, my name was Mud that day. So
Yeah, yeah. So Well, let's see. Planning on doing ancillaries this year plus steak. Yep. And that's
Mhm.
one of the things I will tell you. Max put a lot of stuff in. The emphasis for the people like you that want to do steaks and ancillaries
Yes.
to telling you how to prepare a lot of the stuff in advance. So when you got there, you just had to put some of the dishes together, and sauces and things like that are already pre-made.
Hmm.
So we really went into a lot of thought went into this. He and I talked about it for probably 3 or 4 weeks before we ever came to film
Hmm.
to make it to where it's very user friendly for the steak cook wanting to get into that. So I like that they changed it to only one
And
entry. Yep.
luckily, my wife is a extremely talented cook when it comes to
Right.
ancillaries. And just like I have a timeline for steak, make out the same thing
Oh yeah.
for your ancillaries.
Ancillaries.
Make sure you
Yeah.
do a checklist because a lot of times these competitions isn't close to a grocery store where that's
Yeah.
something
Where
I
you can
would
run to
do.
go get some. Yeah.
Um,
So Randall wants to know that you do a black eyed pea dessert. No, what did you win first place with?
I did a pizza. I did a black
Black.
eyed pea pizza.
He got first place with the
It
black
sure
eyed pea
did.
pizza.
So
Uh,
Lori,
oh,
I, I scored a 202 and Lori scored a 201.9.
oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So and the whole way there, she was like, "Why don't you do one?" And I'm like, "I really don't want to do one. It's not that I don't like cooking. It's like
Right.
I didn't want to ride 7 hours back home with her if I won." And so when they started, and Candace Candace Rogers come up and she was like, "Jody, go ahead and pay that." And I'm like, I didn't even bring cash. She's like, "You got a checkbook, don't you?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." She's like, "Sign me a check." So,
That's funny.
Candace, thank you for my golden ticket, I guess. But no, I told her, I said, "All right, I'll do it." And so I did it, and she did hers, and we let the chips fall where they may. And as they started going down through it, I thought, "Oh no." And then they called her number out for second. And I was sitting there, and she come back, and they called my number out, and I looked, and I was like, "Oh no!" And of course, when you go up, they always ask, who you are, where you from, what you make.
Hmm.
Of course, I walked up and said, "My name's Mud," you know, so that. But
That's
luckily, it turned
hilarious.
around later too, and I was fortunate enough to win one. So
Right.
it was a good day.
Wow. Well, that is really great. Well, I really do appreciate you being on the show
Mhm.
tonight, Jody. It's
So I
just.
seen I seen a question there, Mike.
Uh huh.
Mark Whittemore, he's the promoter for Johnson City, uh, um, and he mentioned mystery box.
Oh, okay.
Last
Yeah.
year at Johnson City, he done the neatest thing ever. So we had a regular ancillary, and he did a second one, and he would not tell anybody what it was. He went around, and this was at a grocery store, or one of our local grocery stores, Food City. It's a
Hmm.
big
Yeah.
grocery store. But
Hmm.
he goes in, they give him, so much money they sponsored it. He goes in and he puts like 5 different items in a bag. And if you signed up for it, more or less, you just got the bag. You didn't know what was in it. No one knew what
Right.
was in it. To
Right.
me, that was one of the most fun ancillaries because you opened it up and there was like a little pork loin and an orange and
Yeah.
all kinds of other stuff in it. And you was like, "Wow, what do you do with this?" And then
Yeah.
so it was neat.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So,
That is pretty
so
neat.
if you ever get a chance to come to Johnson City and do that, that is so much fun. And
That's pretty
normally
cool.
the night before Johnson City, I promote an event for our local Masonic Lodge, and
Hmm.
that way we have chance for people to do three different cooks in one weekend in the
Right.
area.
Right.
So
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, I really do appreciate it. Thanks so much. Good luck at the World Championship this year.
thank you so
And
much.
good luck for 2022. Looks like you've gotten off to a really good start. You already got your golden tickets for both events for next year,
Yes.
and we really do appreciate it. I want to thank everybody for being here. Jody, you got any final words?
Uh, can I mention my
Yeah,
sponsors?
absolutely.
All
Mention
right.
all your sponsors. That's
So
fine.
uh, as everybody knows, Jerry Buchan's on the team too, and his wife Amy always has a little list. So this is for Amy tonight. I've got my list ready, Amy, so she'll know what I'm talking about. But Big Extreme Seasoning, Kingsford Charcoal, Grill Grates, Magna Shelf Gloves, Wicked Pig, PK Grills, Gunter Wilhelm Knives. And then also Billy's Bacon in Fairhope, Alabama is one of the sponsors that helps Lori with her ancillaries and stuff. Uh, Great bacon if you've never tried it. But, as I tell everybody whenever I end, trust in the dust.
That's it. That's it. Well, I appreciate you being on, Jody. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for everybody that's been with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. Make our shows great and a lot of comments and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about. I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. And we're looking forward to being with y'all next Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, Lord willing. We're going to be here. Now, don't know who we're going to have yet. We may see who wins this Blanchard Cook-Off. Last year, there was this young lady named Shauna Rapolo that won the SCA state competition here in our hometown. Got the nice big belt buckle. I had one right there with her because I grand championed the barbecue last year. And maybe she wins that thing again. We may have to have her on. Don't know. We're going to be looking around, seeing who's out there. We're always trying to find people that are doing good, get them on our show, talk a little bit about barbecue, talk a little bit about steak. That to me is what it's all about. And I want everybody to go out, have a lot of fun this week. And as we always say, have fun and smoke on.